Okay, so while you guys are traveling over here, we can start to talk about it. So, boost is something that I have found myself struggling with like my entire career in this game. It's always one of those things that like the moment you need it the most, it is not there. And like that's the habit we all need to break. Like you should have boost available whenever you need it. And I've been doing a little research on it over the last week, and for the most part, it sounds like, using it in very short bursts is best. You don't want to have like big hang time on your boost. Um, and then a habit I've been trying to get into is properly weaving my full power to engines in, because generally you only have a couple seconds at a time where it's like, oh, I don't really need power to engine or power to weapons, and I don't really need power to shields. Those couple of seconds, you should be all power to engines so that you're getting just a few points back, at least. Because when it really comes down to it, if you get caught out in a rate fight and both ships equal firepower, both pilots equal skill level, he who runs out of boost first loses. So it is a really important thing to keep in mind, and it's a important skill that we should all be practicing. Um, and ideally, like I was saying, you want it in short bursts. So you're coming in at your opponent, and you get into a rate fight, and you're kind of faced off nose to nose, and you realize that like yes, you have them and you're hitting them, but they are also hitting you. And at that point, you want to tricord and then basically just tap the boost and get that initial push of G forces, and it's going to be like pressing double tap dodge in a action game. You're going to just boost away real quick, and if you keep your pitch and yaw proper while you tricord boost, you can sometimes flip up on top or underneath them, um, and then get a really good shot profile for even if it's just for a couple seconds, because they're probably going to respond and try and boost out as well so that they're no longer getting blapped. Or excuse me. Or if you are needing to disengage, that's the moment where you can disengage, because you can tricord over or under them and then just keep tricord boosting for maybe 3 to 5 seconds and hit your top speed and get a good disengage out of it. And then, maybe during that moment, put your power to engines, get a little bit of your engines back, then flip power to shields after you've had your 5 seconds of downtime, right? Because, like we talked about last week, when your shields are down, you have to be untouched for 5 seconds before your shields begin to recharge. So use that 5 seconds for something else, either reloading your guns, or if those are already reloaded, that's the opportunity to get some more boost back in. And then by just being very conscientious of how much boost you have, and really start to focus on putting power to boost when available, when you're under half boost, because you're not out yet, but you don't want to be out. Um, so what I was thinking for, yes, yeah. hmm Any chance you get that, oh, I'm not being shot at, I don't need to have, my shields are fine, I'm not being shot at, my weapons are recharged, you should be in powered engines all the time. And even at the very beginning of a fight, it can be advantageous, because while you're power to shields, your boost is used more efficiently. So during the first seconds of the fight, when you have ammo and when your shields are topped off, you can use your boost more efficiently and be more aggressive, and then switch power to weapons, power to shields as needed, and then start cycling the boost back in. Um, so what I thought we would do today for practice is have Necro in a anvil, and we will take turns basically taking him out. So that way you can practice boost. And what he's going to do is when he has you dead to rights in his sights, he's going to shoot, but it's just going to be with two little size twos. Um, and then at that moment, when he starts to shoot at you, that's when you want to practice your tricord boost and try and use that to get on top of him and start shooting him on top. And ideally, you should be able to stay on top of him, and then we can practice a little bit of last week's too. Use your barrel roll while you're on top. Like once you boost up and get on top, start doing a lazy spiral and trying to stay above him. So Kiala, see how I'm matching your rotation right now?
Under fire.
We are oh gosh. That's effectively canceling our momentum out. So you and I would be able, like right there in that moment, we were both able to completely unload into each other. If you get into that situation and you see that someone's matching your rotation, switch directions. I'll give a example of what we're trying to practice. Necro, will you just square off with me and then hold still? Okay, so imagine that we are moving, right? We're in a dogfight, me and Necro, and we get to this moment right here where we are velocity matched, we are momentum matched, and we are both able to just pound into each other. At this moment, I'm going to use forward thrust, left thrust, and up thrust while boosting, and then applying a slight roll and pitch while doing this to maintain a target profile. So the idea is we're shooting each other, I realize he's laying into me, boom, I hit it, flip it, and then I've got him right on top. And it's almost instantaneous because of the acceleration profile of this amazing little space fighter. Gladius is quick. So let's start by just practicing that, just like squaring right off at him.
Sorry, yeah, can you reset? Do that again, please.
Yeah.
What you're using again?
So, and if you watch the overlay on the camera, you can see my keyboard inputs, but I'm using forward thrust, left thrust, up thrust, and boost. So that's WA, spacebar, and shift. And then using the joystick to rotate and yaw and pitch up a little bit. That way I bring them right back into my targets. And then at this point, I would want to apply my upward thrust and start, throwing some spirals in, because he's probably got a gunner up on top, right, shooting at me. So you want to be using your corkscrew and maintaining that last week. I'll just do a brief overrun of it. The way the targeting pip works is you are, okay, there we go. No, I've been using props to do this. So, that's why I wanted my toy airplane, but we'll use.
I got my torpedoes back.
Okay, does this show up on the camera? Yeah, okay, so we'll use this chocobo. You're rolling and boosting at the same time, so you're making this curving arc around the outside of a barrel roll. And then the pip, like if you were just moving straight across the screen like this, their pip would be, oh gosh, it's mirror imaged, sorry. Their pip would be over here, right?
Yeah.
So the same thing is applying here. You're moving at this moment right here in the spiral. It's going to try and put the pip here, right? But by the time the bullets that they shot get there, your ship is already going to be, rotating up along the spiral still. So it's all about the distance and the time it takes for the bullets to travel. That's why you can get away with a lazier spiral at a greater distance, because the time it takes for those bullets to get to you is much longer. And that's part of why cannons suck, is because they're so slow. So you can trick the pip. So that's why you come in at them like this, and the closer you get to them, the tighter and faster your maneuver needs to be, because there's less time for the bullets to travel, so you need to be moving quicker to get out of the way. And if you're going in for that tackle. Yeah. Look at all those misses. Look at all those misses. There you go. Yep. Yep. Oh yeah, and look at those hits. Nice work keeping him beaded. All right, looks like you're a little out of range now. So that focusing on your range control, you want to be tapping W a little bit, or tapping, well, I guess you want to be going forward a little bit or backwards a little bit, and you want to try and keep him in the sweet spot, which is between like 600 to 800 meters. Ideally at the 800-meter mark. And you want to just hold him at 800. If he starts floating away from you, go forward. If he starts getting close to you, start going backwards, and just hold him right there in that glory spot and just rip him up. Nice. Look at those dodges.